Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Friday, May 6th slate of NBA and MLB action. I'm super excited to dive into it. The NBA playoffs are back. We did have that one day, obviously yesterday, where we didn't have any NBA games on, so we did have a full slate of MLB, and it turned out to be okay. It wasn't, definitely wasn't the exact outcome that we were looking for. But we'll definitely recap that in just a second. But before we do that, I did just want to go ahead and say that at the time of recording this video, we are still on the road to 7,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do, and thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance. As I always say, it truly does mean absolutely the world to me. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive into it. I did just get back from watching the new Doctor Strange movie. It was absolutely fantastic. So if you guys are needing a new movie to watch, that's definitely a good one to go see, especially if you're into stuff like that. But I really loved it, and so I did just get home, but I was able to find a couple plays while I was on my way home. I had a couple leans in my mind, but I didn't know what the exact lines were, so I got home, did some research, and now we're here. So I'm really excited to dive into it. But before we do, let's go ahead and do a quick recap as of yesterday. So we did have 3 plays in the MLB, and we pretty much had just about a clean wash, as much of a clean wash as you could have. So first play, we did have Angels and Red Sox under 8 runs. This one, shout out to Calling Our Shot. We did have another head-to-head where he took the over on the game and I took the under on the game, and we were basically against each other on our picks, and it literally couldn't have got any more square than what it was. It literally pushed. It pushed right at 8, finished right at 8, and it was crazy because through like 6 innings, there was no runs. It was 0-0, and then the Angels decided to score 8 runs in the last 3 innings, and it was crazy. It was crazy how much of a turn of events that it did have, but the Angels really did turn up in the last 3 innings. Then we did have the Brewers over 4.5 runs. Excuse me. They were absolutely just blistering baseballs, and I mean that with my full heart. They were absolutely destroying baseballs in this game. I think that both teams combined for like 15 runs or something like that. I think the Brewers finished with like 10. So if you would have did a parlay of this plus the run line, you would have been absolutely you would have just had a nice little bankroll builder right there. But that one did end up working out for us. Then we did have the Marlins Moneyline versus the Padres. That one is still currently going on. It is the 7th inning at the time of recording this video, but I do have to get up a little bit earlier for work tomorrow, so I'm not able to stay up for the whole time to see how it's going to pan out. So, but regardless, we do have the Marlins Moneyline. They are currently down by 1 in the 7th inning, so hopefully they can turn it around here late, but I'm not really sure. So, without any further ado, though, let's go ahead and hop into our plays. I do have one from each of the NBA games that are on, and I do have an MLB play. So hopefully they do end up working out for us. Hopefully we can get hot right here. We ended up going 1-1-1 yesterday. So hopefully we can go 2-1 or even 3-0 today. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Our first play of the day, we're going to be taking Jimmy Butler. We're taking his under 22.5 points here versus Philadelphia at minus 125 odds. And I know the reason I'm picking this line is just because there's something sketchy going on, and let me go ahead and just explain here. So if you take a look at Jimmy Butler's points line, he has finished with only 15 and 22 in the series. So he has kind of struggled here in this series, and I think that there is something up with when it comes to the spread and the over-under. Now, hear me out for a second. The over-under is 210, which is what it has mostly been set at for the entirety of this series. It's been set right at 210, or like 209, 208.5. It's kind of like fluctuated right around there. So the books are not really expecting for these games to be super high scoring. They are expecting them to be super low scoring, actually. And if you take a look at it, the Heat, despite having 2 really great game 1 and 2s, they're only 3-point favorites. So with that being said, if the over-under is not going any higher and the spread is only getting closer, then that can only mean a couple of things. That would mean that someone off of Philadelphia is going to go off, keep them in this game, or it means someone from the Heat is going to really struggle and it's going to be able to keep this game close. So with those two things in mind, I just think that this line is a little bit suspicious. So we're gonna go ahead and hop on the train real quick, and hopefully it does end up working out for us. Also, Philadelphia in their last 7 games have allowed the 10th fewest points per game to opposing small forwards. So I do think we see a little bit of value there as well. Also, both of these teams, they play at super slow paces. They're both bottom 10 in pace in the entire NBA. So they play at a super slow pace, super low over under, only a 3-point spread. And also Jimmy Butler at home, or on the road, excuse me, he averages 1.8 fewer points per game. So with all that being said, I do think that Jimmy Butler does have a good chance of going under today. So we're going to be riding with it. Jimmy Butler under 22.5 points versus Philadelphia at minus 125 odds. Now, excuse me. Our second play of the day is not nearly going to be as exciting. We're actually going to be taking Dallas minus 1.5 in the first quarter versus Phoenix at minus 110 odds. I know. Now this is another line that seems pretty sketchy, right? Because if you take a look at it, Phoenix, they've started out red hot here to start off the season, or like the series, excuse me. Phoenix has absolutely demolished them in the first quarter in their last 2 games. So why is Dallas 1.5 point favorites? Probably because they're now at home. Sure, I mean, yeah, that's definitely reasonable, but I don't think they should be favored. I think it should be closer to a pick-em. So with that being said, Dallas is one of the best first quarter spread teams in the entire NBA. They have the 4th best against the spread record in the first quarter by any team, with a 43, 33, and 1 against the spread record. So definitely cashing more often than not. And the most recent game that they did play at Dallas, which is obviously where this game is going to be played, at the end of the first quarter, Dallas was leading by 4. So hopefully they can recreate that, and they can really get things going here in the first quarter. And also the Mavericks, they have the 3rd best against the spread record in the first quarter at home, which is 23-16. So they have been a very, very solid team here in the first quarter. Hopefully they can get it done here for us. I think that Dallas is favored, and I think they're favored for a reason. So we're going to be riding with it. Dallas minus 1.5 in the first quarter versus Phoenix at minus 110 odds. Now for our MLB play of the day, we're going to be taking the Mets money line here versus the Phillies at minus 120 odds. Now, the Phillies, they have been struggling here recently. They are on a 4-game losing streak. It's not like they've been losing by a lot, so they haven't been absolutely getting creamed, but they have still lost 4 in a row. Whereas the Mets, they are really starting to kick things up. They have won 3 of their last 4 games, so they have been a pretty solid baseball team here recently. And the last game that they did play was an absolute barn burner. The Mets did end up winning it. The final score was 8-7. So if you wanted to take the over, I was looking really hard at the over. There was a couple stats that kind of pushed me away from it, but I do also really like the over. So, but it was 8-7 last game. And the Mets starting pitcher is 4-0 on the year with a 2.61 ERA. So he has been very, very solid here, and he hasn't lost a game on the year. So we're going to be riding with the hot hand here. And also the Mets are actually a really solid team on the road. They're 10-4 on the road. So they have been really, really solid on the road. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we're on the road to 7,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. But for now, this is King Sanders signing out. Peace.